would have thought that would have made a play too. Anyway, Dina, so...
But actually this was probably the most exciting part, that you and I viewed the play differently. And we maintained that, and we respected each other's interpretation. And I think it worked that way because there's two characters in two different worlds, and the play carries within it this misunderstanding, difference of perceptions and view of the world. So from this point of view, I think maybe the difference in interpretation served Jusuf's work at the end.
Yes, yes.
And for me, that was the most exciting bit. I'd like to hear what Jusuf has to say about all of this.
Has the healthcare bill passed yet?
Are you waiting to come back until it does?
No, as far as the play, I thought, I mean, personally, I was not in on the rehearsal process. You know, I was sort of just casually checked in via email. And so I just came in and saw it yesterday. And, you know, whatever difficulties, you know, and I know it's a lot of these difficulties were tech issues. I mean, I was very happy personally as, you know, seeing the work done. I mean, I felt they nailed it. Both Hafiz and Dina and James and Zainab. I was just very happy with what I saw. So no complaints from my end. And this was an experiment. I mean, this is an experiment. It's tech-wise, there was so many obstacles, so many hurdles. The fact that we reached this point and, you know, got to present it, you know, before audiences. I mean, to me, that's we're ahead of the game by just having managed to present it and overcome these obstacles. So I'm very happy from my end.
You know, Jusuf,
Yes.
I must say, you know, that your script is very, very, very strong. It's not just that the words are beautiful and brilliant and witty and clever. Your staging,
Thank you.
your staging is indispensable. Yeah. So you've written the staging, which made it very easy, I think, for Dina, Zainab, James, and myself. For example, the moment he stands to beat up the stuffed animal, that's you. That's not me. Or, you know, the mise en scène. The mise en scène, of course, it was us, but I mean, we're working within space and so on with a live performer in San Francisco, but the idea of him having a stuffed animal to beat to death, or that he brings to the like a puppet to the laptop and plays with, you know, all of those, the essence of the core of the ideas were in your script. We must acknowledge that. There's one thing.
Yes, go on.
Yeah, there's one thing I regret, of course, as a director, I live with regret, yeah, because it's never perfect. Yeah, I mean, I refer you to Cantor, the work of the director Cantor, who actually stands on stage during the show regretting the fact that the show is not going well enough. But what I'm saying is, you know, the moment of the fetal position, you know, you wrote this idea in of, I mean, that's me. I'm always lying in a fetal position in bed, yeah? I wanted the finale of this play to end with James in a more pained fetal position on the floor. But because we had not considered the possibility of how to film or to show that in Egypt, we had not considered an audience in Cairo. We had to settle for him sitting in a chair, almost, you know, Beckettian, you know, like in Ham and Cog and Endgame, you know, this sort of, yeah. To me, it was like Ham in Endgame.
Yeah. No, I was talking with Dina about this. I mean, basically, all the compromises you reached, I thought were great. So I don't have a problem with that. But I was talking with Dina, and I was saying that when I wrote this, I didn't realize that from the Egyptian end, they would be able to set up. I'm not tech savvy, so I didn't realize they could set up a screen, and by setting up a screen, they could invite an audience. So I actually wrote it for the American audience because I thought, you know, you're in a theater, you have tech capabilities, and so in a sense, I wrote it as a proscenium arch play, with the proscenium arch we had to reach some compromises to accommodate that, and I thought the compromises worked.
But I think it's an exciting discovery.
That was part of the frustration, the interesting frustration, Will, because all the while Yusuf and I talked the last week like a couple of times, and every time he was dismissing the idea of an audience in Egypt, and I'm like, why? I mean, we do have an audience, and we could have an audience, we could have this big screen, and Touraj and I, when we talked about the project, we talked about the possibility of having two audiences, which would make it, more exciting for both sides of the ocean. I'm glad that we surprised you.
Yes. It was really my not realizing that they could set up a screen here. As I said, I don't even Skype. I'm not very tech savvy at all. And so, just knowing that, I was thinking yesterday about, if I wrote another internet play, I'd love to write a full-length internet play.
Romeo and Juliet, the balcony scene.
I couldn't do that unless I think there's going to be some improvements.
Some what?
Yusuf, can you hear me?
Yes.
I just wanted to add one more dimension to this. Thomas and I, early on, were discussing the possibility of a webcast. In fact, something on YouTube may go on if Toranj and Serge and gang can figure this out. We would like to put this performance on a webcast. There was also discussion of not only having an audience in Cairo, but live streaming.
That'd be great.
Obviously, the possibilities are really endless, huh, Yusuf?
Yeah. Go on.
I wanted to add, stylistically, we had also talked about having a camera that could follow James on the floor. Sorry. Hello. A camera that could follow James on the floor that would be, viewable from Cairo. But that would be outside of what sort of normally happens with Skype. So I think we kind of put that aside because that's sort of a filmic choice. And we decided not to go that route.
One could carry the laptop in one's hand, Then you get shaky camera movement and so on. There's a lot to explore here. We try to stay within the conventions of Skype.
And, even Silk Road, that do plays from and about, the Middle East, employing this Skyping, I think is really an interesting way to bring those countries and the performers in those countries to an American audience and vice versa, James can say he performed in Cairo, and Zainab can say she performed in the States, San Francisco.
That's wonderful.
We have a question in the audience here, sorry.
Excellent.
Go ahead. Who had a question in the audience?
I have a 5-minute mark.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, we have 5
We do have a
minutes.
question.
And here's a question.
So, I'd like to ask the actors, what was it like rehearsing, especially if what I heard is correct, they never got a chance to meet?
What was it like rehearsing since they haven't met in person?
No, it was great. We should also say, I don't know if everyone knows this, that we have a brilliant actress backstage.
Nora!
Nora, who is actually waiting in case there's any technical problem to take over. So that was our little safety net, and I actually rehearsed with Nora a little bit until we could get the technical stuff figured out. But it was very interesting. We did it just by voice for a couple of rehearsals because we couldn't get the video, and then we kind of got it figured out. And away we went. What did you think?
That's very typical of Shadia. Right. Okay, any questions on your end?
cheapened at all, or?
No, I didn't think so. No, it's a little strange to be able to see your face while you're acting. You know. You're just like, wow. Yeah.
That's how I look.
Well, you just, you know,
Oh, see
you're
your
just
own
aware.
face.
Your own
But
face,
then
yeah.
actually, it kind of becomes a little tool because you can
It's a
kind of
monitor,
check
yeah,
it,
a tool,
make
yeah.
sure you're, you know, you can use it.
But you see, some of my friends and my sisters were watching the performance yesterday, and then somebody was commenting about something you did during the performance. And I was like, really? James does that? And they were like, yeah, because I don't really see you.
You don't?
A boy.
Ah,
No,
it
I
doesn't look.
don't. There are parts that I don't really see him.
Ah,
Because I'm focused with my movement, with my
reading.
I'm focused with Shadda. So
Right.
I see you most of the time, but there are very, very, very short intervals where I don't see you.
Yeah.
So, and I was looking at that square where I am, I just don't care.
I have a question for the audience, both audiences. I keep wondering whether they watch the show partly live, partly on the screen, or do they watch only the screen projector? You see, for me, because I'm so much part of the work, I know how to shift. I look at Zainab and then I look at James, and I know how to do that. And I was just wondering, for people who are seeing it for the first time, do you guys look at the screen and the small thing at the bottom, or do you just watch James and then the screen, or Zainab and the screen? Did that make sense?
Yeah, let's hear it from our audience. Any responses? Everybody says both.
Were there certain times where you would look at the actor and then certain times?
James has such a large playing space. I don't know if it's here, you can rotate the laptop. It's a big empty space.
It's a big stage
Yeah.
here.
James has a lot of room to play, especially when he kills the doll.
Yeah.
So it's more dynamic. I feel more like I'm in here.
Yeah, so we have more stage action here, so our audience sees that as well as the projection on the screen.
But there's also another.
And one of our audience members is here. She's going to tell us her impression of that.
I would shift between the screen and watching Zainab, because here we have James on the TV, on the big TV screen, and Zainab to the side. So if
Yeah.
James was talking, I would be focusing on him.
Yeah.
And if Zainab was talking, I would just be looking at her.
Right.
Bigger target.
That's fair.
Great.
So
it's
yeah,
it's
like a
almost
national
like
theater
puppeteering, you know?
Yeah.
It's like when the puppeteer and the puppet talk, it's kind of like switching like that.
Switching focus.
All right, gang, that's all the time we have today, and let's continue to Skype tomorrow. No, just kidding. Thank you so much for being a part of this. Thanks for participating.
Thank you.